How do you rebuild a country after decades of dictatorship? One of the major concerns when a regime falls is what people and what power structures will fill the vacuum that's left behind. This is a challenge that many around the world have faced, and it is exactly the question that Syrians are in the process of answering now. I've been watching carefully since the Assad regime that ruled Syria for half a century was toppled a year or so ago. One of the realities of Syria is that it's a large country with a varied landscape and a diverse ethnic and religious population. And when the rebels, who previously fought under the flag of Islamic religious fundamentalism, swept to power, there were serious concerns about their ability to provide secular rule. That, coupled with the fact that control over large swaths of the country remained fractured, raised a lot of questions about what would come next. One of those questions got new answers this week. I was reading in the New York Times some in-depth reporting they did as they followed government forces as they took control of a number of northern provinces. That territory had previously been controlled by the Kurds, a distinct ethnic group in the country. One of the elements that really jumped out at me in the reporting was the fact that the government forces received air support from the US. That marks a big change. Previously, the Americans were tentatively allied with the Kurds, who had played a key role in combating ISIS and ultimately were guarding thousands of prisoners. Why the US switched sides isn't outlined, but that change-up follows a series of overtures between the US and the fledgling Syrian government headed by President Ahmed al-Sharaa. I'll just note here that it is interesting that al-Sharaa went from having an American bounty on his head to meeting with Donald Trump in just a year. I mean, talk about a 180. The reporting from the New York Times on the government takeover of 3 previously Kurdish-controlled provinces shows some mixed responses. There was some jubilation from Muslim Arabs who say that the Kurdish militia that controlled the territory acted as a police state. They say they've now been able to return to homes that they had previously abandoned. There was also some quotes from some Kurdish business people saying that they were happy to see a relaxing of economic restrictions. But there remains deep suspicions among many, especially in the minority populations. They worry that if they follow the peace and reconciliation process that's been laid out by the government, handing in their weapons and returning to civilian life, they may be targeted and oppressed. Now, what ultimately happens will remain to be seen, but I, for one, will continue to be watching carefully, and if for no other reason, then I am deeply curious about